Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that has plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. So, we are continuing through Chris Claremont's X-Men. We're going to do a full run. Trust me. I'm not going to be doing this for 12 years, doing one per month. It's going to ramp up with X-Men, but I do need to build up an inventory. So, before I can release them at a quicker date, because Chris Claremont not only wrote about 12 years of X-Men, but there was New Mutants, and there was specials and annuals, and there was let's see, he did Excalibur, so lots of stuff. And we're gonna do everything in chronological order, so you'll have to be patient. For now, I'm doing a monthly video of each thing, of each title that I'm covering, but X-Men will ramp up. I just have to get through it. So we are where I was going to start in the beginning. However, I opted to start from number 1, but I was going to start with John Byrne's run. Now, I'm using Classic X-Men, and I have a playlist, but I'm using Classic X-Men because of all the supplemental material. This is actually how I own a lot of these things, is through this Classic X-Men. Great cover by Arthur Adams with inks by Terry Austin. And here is an original of that. Look at that. Beautiful. Art Adams. Still a great cover artist. It's mostly what he does. Unfortunately, the guy is slow as molasses, but extremely talented and does great work. Just can't get it on a monthly. So real quick, for purists out there, X-Men 106 was not covered in Classic X-Men. And so we get a kind of a reason why. So X-Men 106, and then it tells you that it confronted by Firelord, which caused menstrual stresses and yada yada yada. X-Men 106 was a fill-in issue and interrupted the ongoing saga of Lilandra and Eric the Red, and as such, it was not included in the Classic X-Men. So this issue, you can get it on the Epic collection, but you can't get this issue on in Classic X-Men because the story, I think, is only reprinted in the trades. So. All right, so we're covering issue 108 of the all-new, all-different X-Men. And so it kind of tells you what the supplemental material, which is why I wanted to go through Classic X-Men. The backup will deal with the origin of the Starjammers. Everything. Chris Claremont really just expands. So Classic X-Men is the way to go. It's how I was introduced. So I didn't know, I knew what sort of was new based on the credits, but it's beautiful stuff. So now we get I know you got a little snippet of what the cover would be. This would have been the cover. Dave Cockrum did the cover, but the inside is John Byrne. So John Byrne at that time was with Chris Claremont on Marvel Team Up and on Iron Fist. Again, great piece by Arthur Adams with Terry Austin. And here is an original. Beautiful stuff. And they gave him the X-Men. And so we start out here. This is essentially John Byrne's first issue of X-Men, though it's not the first time he drew the X-Men. He did it in Marvel Team Up. So I normally kind of read along, but I mean, Chris Claremont does so many words, so we're gonna get like a recap of everything that's going on. So Banshee, if I have a playlist, feel free to check out anything that you may have missed, and then you get caught up real quick. So Banshee looks at this crystal, goes, Lord in heaven, the sky, what's happening to the sky? We see everybody now paying attention to this. And so we got our characters here. We got Wolverine. Yes, he's wearing a different outfit. Go through the playlist. We got Lilandra. We got Chad. We got, oh my God, Cyclops' dad. I forgot his name. Corsair. Hepzibah or something. Cyclops, Colossus, and of course, Phoenix. So Corsair says, Chad, call Waldo and the Jammer. I want a full-range sensor scan of the crystal. We've got to know what that effect means. Understood, Fred, Corsair says Chad. Cyclops asks Phoenix if she's okay, but she doesn't finish because Wolverine interrupts him and says, we're all fine, bub. How about we get out of here while the going's good? This place gives me the creeps. Then we got Lilandra here. And where would you hide, Wolverine, from a force that's called the end of all that is? And, oh my gosh, the cat lady, I really forgot her name. It'll come later. So, giving up, Featherhead, thought better of you. We yet live, Lilandra. While we live, we fight. And Nightcrawler says, fight what? A universe gone mad around us? And Banshee says, aye, Cyclops, we've been kept in the dark long enough. That Prince of the Lander told G and Jean what this is about, now tell us. And so we get basically a recap of what's happened. I'm not going to go through it. I've already told you, check out the playlist. And so we are aboard this ship that is like right next to the sun, like that is even possible. So they're studying, it's called Space Lab. And here's Jimmy Carter, who was president, and then we got the Avengers and Reed Richards. So this is Peter Corbeau, who's been a frequent guest star in the early days of the Uncanny X-Men, but eventually does disappear. I don't know if Chris Claremont uses him again after just a few more issues. I don't think he shows up again. So he's having here, everyone's on telecom. And it's funny because he's speaking to them instantly. And the sun is, so at light speed, the sun is 8 minutes away, which means anything he says is going to take 8 minutes to get to Earth. So Mr. President, I don't know. All I can tell you is what happened. For an instant, everything within the range of Starscore's sensors simply, literally ceased to exist. And so Jimmy Carter is from Georgia, so that's where you find that southern I find that a little hard to believe, Dr. Coabo. So he's using, or Chris Claremont is using slang here. So I find that a little hard to believe, Dr. Corbeau. My science advisor disputed the accuracy of your data. Your data. That's right, Peter. Our study group feels that you can feel what you'd like, Joel. That won't change a blessed thing, says Peter. And you can see here Stark International. So, and Mr. Fantastic says, there's no time for flippancy, Corbeau. I'm beyond flippancy, Richards. I think I'm even beyond awe. Good God, don't any of you understand? We registered a total disruption of the nuclear and gravimetric lines of force that bind all matters together. And if this disruption should occur again, ladies and gentlemen, we could very well be witnessing the end of our universe as we know and live in it. So, we got the Black Panther here. Thank you, Doctor. We'll keep in touch. And the Wasp says, "Is that it, T'Challa? Corbo tells us the universe is going to die, and all you can say is, we'll keep in touch. We're the Avengers, blasted. We've got to be able to do something." This is Hank Pym, who was Yellow Jacket at that time. This is before the slap heard around the world. And so he hugs the Wasp and says, "Not this time, my love. It's too big and it's too far away. Like it or not, this one is out of our hands." And Wasp is like, "Oh, Hank, hold me close. I'm scared." "I know, baby. So am I." So, back in Shi'ar, in a world with no name. So, Cyclops has basically told everybody what's been going on, and we have a creature here who's over here. "Hail and farewell, X-Men and Starjammers. There's someone up in the crystal." And Phoenix is like, "Corsair and Cyclops, they're so alike. It hurts. Lord, I wish I'd never mind scanned the Starjammers. How can I tell Scott who Corsair truly is? I am Jaff, aliens, and I am a guardian of this gate into eternity. My charge is a simple one and a final. So long as the gate is open, no one may approach the crystal and live," says. And here comes Wolverine, who was a bit of a jerk during this time. So, "You're going to stomp us, Pipsqueak?" "Wolverine, be careful," says Cyclops. "We don't know what we're up against." "You be careful, bub. That's your bag, ain't it? Size, I ain't going to hurt the little fella much." And the guy goes, "That's for sure." And you get a big pow right here. And so, Jammer de Corsair, I mark a small organic humanoid form approximately 1.6 meters, 70 kilos match. He's one of ours, Waldo. How's he doing? Would you believe escape velocity? And bless my circuits, he's still alive. Go get him, and whatever it takes, keep him alive. I copy. How are things dirt side? And Corsair says, "Don't ask." So this is Wolverine, this line right here. So he punched him super hard. So here come the X-Men to fight the little Juggernaut here as Nightcrawler. And he's just tossing them around, and they're all fighting. And Storm, and here comes Phoenix, and she grabs a asteroid, a runaway asteroid, and throws it at the little guy. And then it's like, "Oh, most impressive, Phoenix. A pity all that effort went for nothing." And then this creature says something in its native tongue, and Chad says, "Don't tell me, little brother. I already know. We're in trouble." Oof. And Cyclops is like, "Storm, use your wind powers, woman. We need a cyclone." "As good as done, Cyclops. But how will that help us?" So, "It'll cover us while we pull back and regroup. We're just wasting our time tackling the imp head on. We need a plan." And he goes, "Banshee, what are you doing?" And so, he doesn't say it out loud. He thinks it, but he's got a plan. Something about the imp said about programming. If he's some kind of robot, I'm betting my sonic scream will scramble his circuits some. I'm betting my life that he is I'm betting my life. There he is, using my me scream as an airborne sonar led me right to him. Chris Claremont tries to use actual like he wants people to. If you got an Irish person, which Banshee's Irish, he's trying to use the English in the way the enunciations like an Irish person would see. Terry Austin is the inker, if I did not mention it, and you can see here a lot of dry brush kind of being done. Terry Austin is one of the premier inkers of all time. So the little guy grabs him, and you can just see it's just squeezing Banshee, breaking his ribs. So Banshee just screams with everything he's got. Eventually, he knocks him down, and they're like, "Banshee, are you well, my friend? We heard that scream," says Storm. "I'm breathing and I'm walking, Storm. I'll settle for that." And he goes, "The throat's never felt so raw. I can barely talk. You took one heck of a risk, pal." Scott, you know Banshee's always been a gambling man. I figured where Jean's blunderbuss approach fail, a finer touch might do the trick. I hit him with the strongest, tightest beamed scream I've ever tried. And so suddenly we see this giant fist coming here. And this guy here, Mod, he says, a magnificent strategy or stratagem, intruder. It will be preserved in our memory banks for all time. But in defeating the first guardian of the crystal, you have only succeeded in prolonging your agony. It says as it hits the first one. So I am Mod, the second guardian. My power is 1,000 times greater than Jas, and should I fall, you will face a guardian whose power is 1,000 times mine. And so it will go until you are destroyed. And Cyclops is like, words have never beaten the X-Men monster. And you see here, personally, I'd be like, time to run. So, very well, Cyclops, my deeds will speak for me. And so he hits and pushes off, I almost said Thor, Colossus toward Raza. And Raza says, worry not for me, Colossus. Raza has faced worse deaths in his time and survived them all. And this is Lilandra's brother, and I forgot his name. I apologize. Not this time, you semblance of a man. This day, I'll see a double triumph, the death of the Starjammer and the acquisition of absolute power. So Colossus says, is your emperor mad? Does he not realize the Guardians will slay him too? And Raza says, he's not my emperor, and yes, he is mad. Hold, Earther, the Starjammer calls us. Raza, this is Waldo, and I love how they put Waldo in quotations. When the second Guardian appeared, there was another cosmic blink. Whatever the Emperor's unleashed, it's disrupting the basic fabric of the universe. And he's about to say, thou wouldst not be content with the ravaging of worlds. Thou must need destroy all that exists to satisfy thy insane lust for power. Thou art a murderer. And the Emperor says, unhand me, loud, I am the Emperor. And thou wilt die a murderer's death. And so the Emperor screams as Raza throws him inside that. So everything turned white when they threw the Emperor in. The Emperor didn't die, but suddenly this city appears. And Storm says, I've never seen such space, such emptiness. Yet I feel closed in, trapped in a cage. I do not like this place. And Cyclops says, I'll drink to that, Storm. But what is this place? Now, here's the funny thing is, I have always been told we read this way to this way. And then, so I know that this is higher. So but I don't know. I think this word balloon should be, I don't know, this one should be a little higher and this one should be in the middle, down here personally, to draw the eye to make it easier. Because someone could mistakenly read this before reading this. Because I think people go here, 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 here. So you guys let me know. I think that if this balloon, if you would have just moved this one, probably here where the hand is, and then put this one right over here, you don't really cover much of the art, and you can still put that right here. But one moment, we're getting clobbered by that giant economy-sized Robbie the Robot. The next, we're zapped here, and he's not. And so there's the Emperor. And Phoenix says, hush, Scott. Don't you see, my love? We're inside the crystal. The Guardian was charged with keeping us out. He has no place here, no power over those who pass him. And so Cyclops is like, how the heck are we inside the crystal? And Phoenix says, reality as we know it has no meaning here. And within this sphere is the heart of it all. I can feel life, Scott, and pain. Something is calling me, Scott. I sense such beauty. Jean, what are you talking about? Phoenix, your hand. And you can see here it's kind of going invisible. She would say something, scream something, but she never gets the chance. And suddenly there's all these beams kind of hitting everybody. And so it's kind of like the stuff of nightmares, everyone's biggest fears. The Emperor being I don't know, killed by this thing. Nightcrawler um, being killed kind of like a vampire or a demon. Um, he's reliving the day his wife was murdered by the Emperor. So, um, Jean Grey is kind of reliving her dying to become Phoenix. So, the nightmare, it's not affecting me anymore. I think I understand. When I died, my fear of death died with me. And nothing I'll ever face will be even half as terrible. That scream, Cyclops, his optic blasts are out of control. And so here he fires at Phoenix, but um, she says that beam would have cut her in two, but she was able to kind of phase out of it. So my entire body's become ephemeral, like some sort of living ghost. All right, so I'll worry about that later. First, I've got to stop Scott before he does any more damage. And she kind of shoots something at him into his head, probably to help him, some kind of psychic thing. So, and she's like, that sound, oh no, the sphere. As Scott fell, his beams hit it head on, and now it's shattering. Whatever's locked inside is breaking free. What do I do now? I don't know what's in there, or even if I did, how am I supposed to stop it? I am all alone, she says. So Phoenix says the first thing is not to panic. I am an X-Men. I've been through tough spots before, and I've always come through with flying colors. So she's going through as Phoenix, and she's going to go inside to see what's going on here. So, and they all kind of start recovering because all the images are gone from, so all their fears are gone. So she explains that she canceled like the nightmares, and she's for the first time she feels both as Phoenix and as Jean Grey. Now, the way Chris Claremont originally intended was Jean Grey was Phoenix. Things, of course, then later became retcon, but that was never Claremont's intent. And so Phoenix is like, there's so much power here, bound within this geodesic, oh my gosh, look at these words, of anti-energy. I don't have the words, the concepts to describe it, but this lattice is alive and it's dying. And when the lattice dies, the neutron galaxy will be free. So, in her mind's eye, she witnesses the possible shape of things to come. Nothing will be spared as the power of this near infinite mass reaches out across the universe, pulling stars and planets from their orbits with monstrous ease, destroying them all in the process. Even if that were true, it would take some time. The galaxy's pretty big, and the universe is even bigger. So, and so here it's just showing what all the destruction will be like as basically matter and antimatter collide. That's essentially what we have here. So, Phoenix, of course, screams no. So, I can see the true pattern of the lattice in my mind. The network of interlocking stasis field neutralizing the power of the N galaxy. Our only hope is to knit the lattice back together again before its deterioration passes the point of no return. I think I know what to do, but I don't have the strength, she says. The Phoenix is a being of energy, and the N, I think it means neutron. The neutron galaxy absorbs energy. It's absorbing me. It's pulled me away, so far away from the human plane of reality that it's as if I no longer exist. And Storm says, but you do exist. You need an anchor in this cosmic maelstrom. Jean, I will be that anchor, says Storm. Ah, yes. No, Storm. Ororo, don't know what you're saying. The anchor you offer is your life force. It is my life to give, my friend, she says. So, Storm is about to sacrifice herself. And she says, even if I took it all, Ororo, it still won't be enough. But you've given me an idea where one won't serve, two will give me the need, perhaps. Leave both donors alive. Corsair, help me. Major Summers, please. Corsair, help me. He says, why should I? Major Summers, please. There's no more time. Take my hand. So she already said his name. So these comics are pretty old. If you don't know who he is by now, that's okay. You know my name, how? And she says, I'll explain later. And so it takes her but a moment. See you, folks. That is, if this stunt of mine doesn't work, if it doesn't, look after Cyclops for me, Corsair. He's the man I love, but he's also your firstborn son. And Corsair goes, oh Lord, Scott, he says. So, my son, my boy, I thought you were dead. So, of course, we've retconned on to add, I think there's a third brother. So here comes Phoenix. She's about to work her magic. So she's going to fix that thing. And so we're not going to read all this, but basically Phoenix is going to fix the lattice here. She's so big. She's, as it says here, as big as a solar system, but and so we get some supplemental material. And she's like, it's not working. I'm trying with all my strength, with all my heart, but my power isn't enough. And inside her mind is all of this. Let us help you. Take all our strength into your own. And so all the X-Men offer up their lives and or their strength, perhaps. But man, oh man, Chris Claremont is a good writer. But man, he is verbose. Very verbose. So Phoenix fixes it. And so she gets a glimpse of the Dark Phoenix. This is, I believe, also supplemental material. This was not in the original. This is Chris Claremont again, adding more pieces to give a more comprehensive story. So Phoenix denies. She's like, I deny you. I cast you out. I'll die before I let you claim me. So, and out she goes. This is also supplemental, but this part I believe is not. So, and so Cyclops goes, are you all right? When you didn't return with the rest of us, I feared. I tried to go back to find you, but the crystal wouldn't let me in. Jean, what happened? And Phoenix is like, there was such beauty, but I saw such beauty, Scott, so glorious, but when afterwards I can't remember. So, and so our job's done, Lilandra. We've done all you asked and more. It's past time. We went home. And so they jump through the Stargate. We are home. And not a moment too soon, I think. Even the smog smells good. And look at poor Wolverine. My God. And we see here, X-Men. Greeting, X-Men. I've been expecting you. In case you forgot. Here's Firelord. On your toes, X-Men. No, Cyclops. I'm done fighting. If Firelord wants to take my life, it's his for the taking, says Phoenix. You need not fear me, Phoenix. In the short time you were gone, Xavier explained how I was deceived. I stayed to guard the Stargate until your return. And then, before anyone can respond, the gate opens and here comes Lilandra. And after Lilandra goes through, the gate closes. And Xavier says, Lilandra, how? Why? I thought I'd never see you again. And Lilandra's like, you'll not be rid of me so easily, Charles Xavier. What happened within the drove my mother incurably insane, almost catatonic. As he has no wife or children, by law I should succeed him. But I led a rebellion against him, against the Empire, and by the same law I am condemned a traitor. Yet what I did was right. The High Council knows this. So once they iron out the legal wrinkles, they will summon me home. Till then, my dearest love, I'm exiled here on Earth. I am yours. So, very Chris Claremont-ish. So the book is dedicated to Dave Cockrum, and we'll come back. But here's the thing: once you get used to John Byrne, Dave Cockrum was great. I loved the beginning part. Then it just gets better with John Byrne, and then when Dave Cockrum comes back, to me, it does seem like a step back. So next issue, there shall come a hero. But again, this is classic X-Men, so there is supplemental material. Real quick, this here is telling you what the original page looked like. So this is the the pages, but then they were broken up to add the supplemental materials. And I love this image of Star-Lord sort of waiting. I wish they would have found a way to kept this because I thought it would have been cool. So, and then this is another one that they did. So, this is what it originally looked like. So, they got rid of that because it was in the front piece. So, um, by the way, this was Tom Rozakowski's first issue. Or co he the letters were done by two people. But and he'll bow out, not bow out. He will be on and off a few issues here and there, but eventually he's the full time letterer. So, and so this kind of gives you what it looked like, and then Chris Claremont just added even more words to be able to get this. And again, some of the recolorings, some of the changes that were made to the classic X-Men. So, all right, here we go. So we're looking at Corsair as he's enslaved in those sharp mines. You can see here they're working him to death. John Bolton is the artist of the supplemental material for a while. And so they're trying to get is it Hepzibah? I really don't know. But she crashes with Corsair. And so they're going to make her pay for that. And they toss him aside. Looks like they're going to beat her. And this guy's like, you can't. And then they hit him instead. Like, how dare you tell us we can't? We can do whatever we want. So... And so the guy's like, did you learn your lesson? He's like, yes, sir. You won't give us any more trouble? No, sir. And so he's like, please don't. And they're like, you made a mess. Grub, clean it up right away. That's the spirit. All broken to bits, and they all laugh on the way out. And he's like, now remembering. Here it looks like he's got 4 eyes. His eyes are here, but the inking does make it sound like he's got another set of eyes. So he's remembering, this is Scott Summers, this is Havoc, and then that ship appeared, and the ship went down. They put the parachute on the kids. They kind of burn down. Scott protects himself to save Havoc, so that's causes part with his mutant power, so that's what leads to that he can't control it. And so the Emperor took a fancy to Kate. Corsair tried to object, so the Emperor ended up killing Kate, who was his wife. And so suddenly Chad appears. He's like, greetings. No, get away. I said I'd promise to be work. And then he's like, peace, small mammal. I mean no harm. I'm Chad. My companion answers to Raza. We seek a friend. Your height and build, furry and feisty and female with a tail. Her trail leads down this tunnel. Might you have noticed which way she went? He's so polite. So, saw nothing, know nothing. Work to do. Clean my mess. Carve the crystal. And so Raza's like, he lies. Raza says, of course, we leave him, he'll go to the guards. If they learn of our presence, we'll lose our last chance to save our friend. He says, logical. We'll be doing him a favor by putting him out of his misery. So they continue talking, and Corsair is like, they keep calling him a grub, and he's just getting angry. And he's like, no, and he screams finally, like he's snapping out of it. So he's walking in there, and you can see her trapped in there. And they're like, he doesn't see us. It's too late. So they should have. They're like, well, we should have killed him, but maybe not. So he's walking in, and they don't pay him no mind because after all, they're not concerned. But he stabs one guy, and then he uses this whip to get the other guys, and then the other guy hits him in the leg. He falls. And he's like, look like that's ball game. Sorry, lad. Give it my best shot. And then Chad comes through, grabs this guy by the ankles, and throws him to the other. And then here goes Raza. You can see he's got a knife and sword, so it's not going to end well. And so he's like, going to rescue her. By the way, these two eventually hook up. So they're going to get out, and he's like, "We have a ship," and he says, "We need a pilot," and he goes, "I'm a pilot." Um, so can you can you fly a starship? I can learn. So look, wherever you go, I'd like to come with you. Wherever you have, I'd like to be a part of it. That is, if you'll have me. Objections none, splendid. Have you a name? Call me Corsair. And though none know it at that time, a legend was born. So the next solo story will deal with Banshee. So, and then here was the back cover, because Classic X-Men had a front cover and a back cover. So, all right. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, Classic X-Men number 15. John Byrne, Chris Claremont, Terry Austin, John Bolton. Like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.